Welcome to Business Prowess with Rafael and Dr. Andrea. Our show will bring you the best insights, ideas, and inspiration from successful entrepreneurs and CEOs in the business world. Don't miss out on the opportunity to learn from the best and stay ahead of the game. Sifu Rafael is the founder of 5 unique shows. He's a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. Dr. Andrea Adams Miller is an award-winning international keynote speaker, best-selling author, and CEO of the Red Carpet Connection Publicity, Publishing, and Talent Agency, and CEO of IgniteYourRelationship.com. Known as the Dream Maker, she makes visionaries' dreams come true, bigger than they ever dared to desire.
Good morning, Paul. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm doing very well, my brother. How are you doing today?
Exceptional, getting better every day. Thank you so much for co-hosting with me today. Really, really appreciate that.
Absolutely. I love it. I'm glad to be here. And surprise, everyone. It's Paul McFadden today.
You definitely do not look like Dr. Andrea.
Love it.
So we're doing a great show today because I love the topic. It's built from the inside out. And you have always understood that because of the work that you do. But we have 2 gentlemen who are definitely powerhouses in this work that we do every day, built from the inside out. So let's not waste any time and go ahead and bring them in. Stanley and Sandy, gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, gentlemen.
The show. So who wants to tackle that first? Because we could talk for hours on building from the inside out. Who's going to go?
Go for it, Stanley.
I'll go. You want me to just start?
Yes, sir. Please,
Absolutely.
by all means.
Okay. My name's Stanley Bronstein. I'm 66 years old.
Young.
Yeah, 66 years young. You're correct. Absolutely correct. I stand corrected. I used to weigh 367 pounds. Today, I'm about 145 pounds.
Wow.
No drugs, no surgeries, getting my head on straight. Over time, learning to eat better, learning to exercise, in my case, walking. By trade, my career, I'm an attorney and a CPA. So I have, very successful business career. But up until I was the age of 50, there was a part of my life I had not gotten together. And that was my body. My body was not aligned with my mind and my spirit. I was out of alignment. And I was neglecting my body. I would go to Chinese buffets for lunch every day. I'd sit on my butt on the couch, get no exercise, eat a bunch of crap. And I was lucky. I never had a heart attack yet. I never had a stroke yet. But all that stuff was coming. As I was getting ready to turn 50 years old, right 17 years ago, February 1st, 2009. You notice it was February 1st, not January 1st. Today's January 9th, so people are still thinking about New Year's resolutions. Well, my New Year's resolution that year, back in 2009, was I was going to get in shape. Well, I obviously broke it. February 1st, I still hadn't done anything. But the whole point of that is it's never too late. You can start anytime you want. So I woke up. It was 4 months before my 50th birthday. And I asked myself a question. I said, where am I going to be in 5 years if I keep doing what I'm doing? And I didn't like the answer, because can you guess what the answer was? The answer was I was going to be dead. As I tell people, I wasn't committing suicide by putting a gun to my head, but I was committing slowicide by eating myself to death. And so I woke up and I told my wife, I said, I'm cooked. I'm done. Because I said to myself, I'm wasting my potential. I can be so much more than what I am. And mind you, I had a very successful career at the time, but yet I was unhappy. I had the money, I had everything was good, but something was missing. So I told my wife, I'm going to start making changes in my life now. I'm going to learn to start eating better now. I'm going to start exercising now. My exercise of choice is going to be walking. And little did I know how prophetic my words were. Since that date, which is almost exactly 17 years ago, I keep track of my walking. I have walked 72,000 miles.
Woohoo.
That is 30% of the way to the moon. And I mean, I'm walking full, but I'm lucky because the work that I do, I can do it when I'm on the road. I can do it when I'm out. As long as I have my cell phone, I can work. I can do whatever. So I've intentionally created a lifestyle for myself where I can do those things. So I started out right away. First thing I did was I quit drinking alcohol. I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic, but I will definitely say I was drinking too much. And I will definitely say that the drinking did not serve me. I served it.
Mm.
So I said, no more. I haven't had a drink in 17 years and don't miss it. And it's very interesting when you go to parties, when you're the only one who's not drinking, it makes the party much more interesting. You see what everybody else is doing. Then I learned to start eating better. Right away I gave up red meat, beef and pork. 5 years later, I gave up chicken and turkey, essentially went vegetarian. And then 5 years after that, I went vegan. So I've been vegan for just about 8 years now. Whole food, plant-based. If it came from a plant, I don't eat it. If it is a plant, I eat it. As you tell people. And my health is through the roof. I mean, I'm getting ready to go have my annual physical next week. Looking forward to it because once again, my doctor is going to tell me that I'm his star patient. And that's the way you want it to be. And so I learned 3 things out of this experience. First of all, before I say that, I want to say it was not a perfect road. There were ups and downs, starts and stops, good days, bad days. It wasn't, I'm this great, wonderful person and no mistakes from here on out. The point is that I kept going. The point is you want to constantly improve. You want to beat yesterday. You want today to be better than yesterday, tomorrow to be better than today. But because we're human beings, sometimes staying even is a win. Not moving backwards. Okay, so
I got to tell you, Stanley, from everything you've shared with us, God bless you. And what I keep envisioning is that you were on the inside and you stepped out of that body that you used to have. And so now you really came from the inside out. You literally ripped that apart, if you will, like that suit that you had on, because you literally left a whole nother person behind, somebody who believed that the success was the most important. And you came out saying, I am the most important. Yes, I'm successful. But when it comes to your success, it's from the inside. And I love to hear what Sandy, what your thoughts are, not only on what he's done, but what are your thoughts on what it means for you to be built from the inside out. And then we'll keep going back and forth because I want this to be more conversational for all of us, right? Love to hear
very, very inspiring story from Stanley. And I a couple of takeaways for me, which I try and practice in my work. And I think one of the contributing factors to kind of being seeing success is this concept of, are we chasing success or are we chasing fulfillment? I think that's probably different for everybody, but there has to be a target, right? Because the goal is to kind of get focused, get clear, and then to take action. And I think that a good reframe as it relates to kind of this growing from inside out, changing, and really kind of being able to go out and live the best life possible is understanding the concept of perspective. I think that we're so trained. It's so normal to think like glass half full, glass half empty. And what I always like to introduce to people is, well, what if there's a third lane? What if we're just living a life that the glass is refillable, right? It can just be. I can get up off the couch, I can go to the sink, I can fill the glass up, and that's the new perspective. So for me, really kind of there you go. The inside out concept really, I think something that Stanley said is so important is this concept of grit, right? Like, why does today matter? Well, today matters not because we're necessarily going to accomplish everything by tomorrow, but when you add up all the todays, like that's the currency that gets you to that place. So this concept of being gritty is I think really relevant. So those are kind of my initial thoughts on what Stanley was saying, and Sifu, the question that you asked.
I appreciate that. I'd love to hear your thoughts, Paul, as well.
No, I think it's an amazing story, and I mean I think there's a couple, obviously several takeaways, and Sandy, you pointed out a few of those as well. I'm doing this talk later, and it's really kind of timely because I'm talking about the art of alignment, right? And ART is an acronym, ART, and what that means for me is that attention reveals the truth, right? And notice I didn't say awareness, right? Because we can have all the awareness in the world, but it's when you intentionally put your focus on whatever the challenge is or the issue is or whatever that is, that resistance is for you. That's when things start to change, and that's when you can make a decision to do something and then take the action appropriately. I mean, I also love that, Stanley, you shared something that many leaders, founders, executives, human beings go through, is that we kind of see this success that we have attained, right? And we check all the boxes off because someone told us that we needed to do these 10 things or these things, and that makes us successful. And then we do it. And then we find at the end of that, doing all those things, something's still missing, right? And that is the definition of misalignment, right? And so just recognizing that, right, and then putting attention on that, then helps you then do the things that are necessary to make change happen, move change forward, to reset yourself. Is kind of what you did. You said, I'm going to do this, and you told someone, you had someone witness it. Right. And that was like the doorway to your reset. And then it was just a matter of being consistent, doing things over time. Now looking back on it, you can look back on that road and look at the accumulation of all the things you did. And I think it's beautiful to say that, it's not always going to be sunshine and roses and unicorns and starfish and all those things. It's always going to be a happy road. It's going to be ups and downs. But it's the consistency. It helps one change, to embody, to integrate what it is they're learning about themselves in order to become the version that they intend to be, right? So it's a perfect demonstration of how that works when one puts their mind to it.
Paul, tell me what you think about this. I had so much. You just reminded me of this. I wish I came up with this. I didn't, but someone told me. They explained it to me this way a long time. Right, the difference between awareness and focus, because I agree with what you said, and they likened it to awareness is like looking out the window, like, hey, there's my neighbor, there's a tree, there's the mailman. But focus is like, that's not focus, that's awareness. Focus is like looking into a mirror, right? Very specific input to get specific output. And when you said that about awareness, it kind of made me think about that.
Yeah, because it's an intentional act.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
One kind of just happens, right? You just happen to be in a place. You just happen to become conscious of something that's happening around you. Versus focus is an intentional behavior. You're doing it for a purpose, right? So
to me, there's a different kind of awareness. You're talking about inner awareness, which is what I did, which is telling myself the truth. And then acting upon that truth. I mean, do you seriously think that day was the first time I told myself that I needed to get in shape? No. I told myself that many days, hundreds of times, if not thousands. But it was the first time I acted. I told myself the truth. I stopped BSing myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wanted to add something to what Sandy said. You asked about what we're chasing. I have a slightly different take on it. I'm not chasing anything. I'm being something.
Mm.
You know, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying I think I stopped chasing and just started being it. That's changing your identity.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are things that I was thinking. But can I add one? There was one more part of my story I wanted to say before we move on, because I think it's relevant.
Before you do that, you know what you talked about, that you have 3 points, right?
Yeah.
I want to drip those. So I want you to do one, and then we'll talk, and then we'll go to the second.
Okay.
I want to drip those points because I know how important they are, right?
We can drip them. Okay. First, the experience taught me that I am more powerful than I ever imagined. Okay. I am a very confident guy. I became a CPA, and then I became an attorney because my older brother, in the middle of an argument, dared me to go to law school. And so I said, okay, you're right.
That's how it happens.
So I learned something from that experience, which was you can be having an argument with someone who's totally full of crap, but you should listen to what they're saying anyway, because some words of wisdom may accidentally come out of their mouth. And so I went to law school. So I was already a pretty confident guy, yet the experience of what I did and what I have done since that day has blown my mind. It has convinced me that I am more powerful than I ever imagined. And out of that, 2 other things came out, which we will drip as we go through this.
Love it. Before we go on, I want to share something with you, which really kind of connects with a lot of the things that we're talking about. Take a look.
You followed the rules, tried the restrictions, counted the carbs, the steps, and the failures. You're not lazy, you're exhausted from doing it all without real change. What if the problem isn't you, but the plan? Sifu's Mind-Body Method is a 90-day transformation built on 7 unshakable pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, hydration, fasting, journaling, and faith. This isn't another shortcut. It's your structure, your strength, your reset. You don't need harder, you need better. Ready to begin? Start today.
So I thought I'd share that because it's so important that we acknowledge what Stanley shared with us, because success is multifaceted, and yet we forget the most important part: us.
Yep. The other thing, Sifu, I think it's
Go ahead.
from like a perspective standpoint, is we've all had the stories, right? We've all lived the concept of well, you don't know what it's like. You don't know what I'm going through, and to some degree, that's very relevant, because we've all heard speeches where there's a process, and I live in that world. You know, it's belief, attitude, grit, all of those things. But so much of it, I think, is like there's work before the work. You know, like once you get to that doorway of whatever the forward structure is, like you got to get to that doorway shedding the extra weight, right? Shedding any of the shame, any of the guilt. That really is kind of when I think a lot of the work can truly start. And what I love most about that video is that, like, are we at the bottom or are we at the beginning? You know? And I think when we kind of flip that switch, that's when, I don't know if it's the lowest point, maybe it's just the start of something great, right? Because everything has to start. Because like you're at that proverbial T in the road, you know, whichever you choose, you got to be all in, but you can't stay here, right? There's cars behind you, you got to go. You know,
right.
that your video made me think about that.
Oh, thank you for that. And you're right. When we think about the life, the challenges, the adversity that we all face. We all face it differently. I don't think anyone faces the same adversity the same. We all come out different. If the four of us went into a specific situation, identical situation, we'd all deal with it differently. It's just human nature. It's the way we interact with a situation based on our beliefs and what we've done before that incident happened, right? So it's very unique to each person.
I agree completely.
100%.
Yep. So Paul, how do we become a verified human? I'm so curious.
It is.
Maybe
Maybe you are. Maybe I don't know. I'll share a couple teasers with that, because that's it's a more of a new awareness, if you will, and really kind of the culmination of a lot of things that I've been doing for many years. So I would say that, first of all, verified human is a standard, right? It's a commitment to align between our awareness, our behavior, and our responsibility. And so it's not something that you can just self-declare, because people talk a lot about how good they are and how they're, these wonderful human beings, and then they go behind closed doors, and then the behavior is the exact opposite of what they put out there in public.
That's right.
Right. And so it's kind of like, practice what you preach. It's really about practicing what you preach, but doing it in a non-performative manner. I'm not trying to get anybody's attention by being a good human being. Right. I'm being a good human being because that's what drives me, and that's what I stand for. And so I'm a good human being, whether I'm in the bathroom or at the grocery store or at the gas station or on the stage and talking in front of a bunch of people on a podcast. It doesn't matter. I try to live to that standard intentionally, day in and day out. And as long as I'm doing that, then nothing anyone can say about me or to me is going to change who I am and how I show up. Right. And so it becomes a witnessing of yourself, right? Some self accountability. And it's not something to be taken lightly. And really just it's something that defines how someone lives, and the responsibility that they feel, the gravity of that, living in that way. And so, but it is really just a combination of everything that we're talking about. It's just, like I said, it's putting your money where your mouth is.
I love the integrity part of it, right? No matter where you are, there you are.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. 100%.
I deal a lot with a lot of athletes, but we always have that discussion about that word standard always comes up, and it's interesting. I think there's a little bit of gray area between expectations and standards. And what I've noticed is a lot of high performers, achievers, they don't spend a lot of time dealing in expectations, right? They just like you said, Paul, there is a set of non-negotiables. Like, no one has to tell them that. That's just how they go through life. And I found that you see that a lot in high performers. It looks authentic. It's what they do in the light is very similar to what they do in the dark. It's authentic.
Right. I mean, you kind of nailed it. I mean, it really is, living by a core set of principles, foundations, right? And having certain values, and those things become the non-negotiables that you hold yourself to. You're not looking for anybody else to hold you to that but you. And that's a challenge. And I saw Stanley.
They're the things you're 100% committed to.
100%.
And when you are 100% committed to something, it becomes much easier.
Mm-hmm.
For example, with me, I have a couple of non-negotiables. One is no unhealthy food will enter my mouth.
Mm.
Another one is I am going to walk every day. And another one is I only want to allow good thoughts to enter my head. And that's not always easy to do, but I work on that. And then I only want to hang around good people.
Right.
I want to be in good environments.
Love it.
Those are all non-negotiables, but they're the things you're 100% committed to.
Right. And it's not even an ideology or not even a belief system. It's a knowing.
It's who you are.
It's a knowing, exactly. It's a knowing of who you are and a knowing how you want to continuously show up. And it's not an easy thing. I would say that. I mean, life is certainly, there are a lot of people who would say life is easy or life is simple. I mean, there's some simplicity around life, right? There's also complexity around it too.
Can we add perspective to that? I want to add perspective to that. Sometimes it is easier. It's all in how you look at it. People say what I do, they go, that's not easy. And I go, no, walking around at 367 pounds was not easy. What I do now is easy. So
that's right.
A lot of it's how you look at it. I mean, the alternative is, it's worse.
Absolutely.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it just kind of fit in with what you
it did.
No, we're saying the same thing. No, exactly. We're saying the same thing. I love it.
Sifu, in a lot of your coaching, right? Do you go through this education process of trying to help people see the difference between motivation versus discipline? Are they chasing being motivated, right, which could fade, or is the true genius in the habits and being disciplined?
I'm gonna answer that in my Sifu's Mind method, because I talk about legacy.
I love that.
Because the legacy part is who you are today. Do you want to keep that person, or do you want to evolve to be the person that you end your last breath with, that you're 100% satisfied with, that 5, 6, 8 generations from now, they will be talking because of the legacy that you left behind. Not that you'll be forgotten, but that your presence in this world made a difference. So leaving your legacy is going to make an impact, but it's the actions that you take every single day that will define your legacy. If you don't care about your legacy, you will just do whatever you're doing, not worry about it, and don't care who you hang out with, don't care who's in front of you. They could be drug dealers, they can be who knows what. But if you want to leave a legacy, it's the people you hang around with that impact your life so that you can impact theirs, and this synergy starts to form. And this is what I'm going to have to play the next video, guys. Take a look.
The city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event. It's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds. A movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael, Lancelot, Jose Escobar. Together they set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC Experience Mastermind. Light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck, put the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC Experience Mastermind, where purpose is found.
Oh man, I get moved by that.
That was awesome.
Goosebumps.
that was I didn't know we got theme songs now. Holy cow.
I'm jealous.
It was a Rastaman experience.
That's terrific. Terrific. Seems
I
like I
expect to see Sandy and Stanley should be there too.
I think they should be.
They should be there.
Come on, like-minded people. How can you not? How can you not want to be part of it, right?
Man, that was incredible. Very, very strong. Yeah. Are you really looking forward to the event? It sounds like it's going to be just terrific.
Oh yeah. It's going to be beyond and incredible. Paul's going to be one of our speakers there, so just that alone is worth the ticket.
Just that by itself. Yeah,
But I can tell you, when I met Paul the first time, he was wearing this color.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, who is that sharp-looking guy over there?
Full on pink, mind you.
Full pink. Everything was pink. Probably his underwear, too, but we're not going to go there. Let me just say, the man exemplified not only a well-dressed man, but also confidence. The confidence that emulated from this man, you can see it. Every detail was perfect, and just the way he carried himself, he could have been wearing any color. But the words that I said to him I said, you know, not everybody can pull that color off, and you do. You're a powerful young man, and I need to meet you. And that's how we got connected first time.
Right? And you pulled it off well too, my brother.
Love it.
Indeed. No, we've had some amazing experiences, and the alignment between people and the resonance between people is so powerful, particularly when you're on the same wavelength, if you will, on the same page, on the same trajectory, if you will. And you're right. We surround ourselves around light, right? We all do that. That's human nature. But you also have to be cognizant of who you surround yourself with as well, because that can have, an impact or a consequence. That's a positive or negative. It's really not about the positivity or negativity. Just understand that there is an impact, right? So be mindful of who we surround ourselves with. And so, the intention is about, just like we only put certain types of food in our bodies, and we only allow certain mindsets to enter our mind or into our space, or we only put ourselves around certain types of people. That's all intentional and purposeful, and to live that way, takes a lot of focus, takes a lot of attention, and just being, absolutely, that filter of excellence. That's right, Stan.
You put a filter in front of you, and you only let good stuff through.
That's it.
That's it.
I found a common trait too, Paul, and you mentioned confidence, and Stanley, you mentioned it, that everyone seems like they're always chasing that, right? Like that's I want to feel more confident. I want to feel more confident. And I think one of the great ironies is that, if you think about confidence, it would be like a tree. When you look outside, that's the tree. What you don't see below ground, though, like that's belief. So like in that example, like no roots, no tree, no belief, no confidence. So I found that in those worlds where all of these kind of like-minded, well-intended people come together, there's a lot of belief in the room. I think the end result is that that kind of sparks a feeling of confidence, but they're able to tap into belief. It seems like it's stable.
Yeah, it was. I saw this thing. It was beautiful. YouTube. It was a video on YouTube, but I can't remember the channel. So anybody who knows this, if you know who it is, and I'm sorry that I didn't remember it, but certainly want to give someone else credit for this, because this is not my idea. But there was a guy being interviewed, and I want to say he was in Jamaica or South America or Africa or something like that. And the guy asked me, said, "What is the difference between belief and knowing?" And it was a really, really intriguing question. And there's an answer that this guy gave, but I'm really curious to hear kind of like what you think about that, Sandy. What's the difference between belief and knowing?
I was hoping you were going to let Stanley go first on that.
I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. It's your identity.
Yeah, I would agree.
We're going to, can I skip? You talked to me how you wanted to drip these things, Sifu. I'm going to drip to the third one. I want to do the third one because it answers
skip number two.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. The third one. Okay. The first thing I already told you was I learned that I'm more powerful than I ever imagined. The third thing I learned is that if I'm more powerful than I ever imagined, so is everybody else. I am no more special than any of you, You are no more special than me. I am no more special than the listeners. They are no more special than me. We are all special. And now that you know that you are more special, believe it and act that way. I'm telling you right now, we are all more powerful than we ever imagined. Believe it, know it, live it. You know, you talked again about chasing, Sandy, and I'm not trying to give you a hard time. But stop chasing, start being.
I think chasing is a synonym, especially
it is
right for purposeful and intentional, right? Like taking action, moving, not chasing because we're not running away from something, but I do think it's deadly important to be very focused on what is it that we are running towards. Like there has to be an intention.
Yeah, and sometimes it's what are you running away from too.
Yeah,
I'm going to touch upon what Sandy talked about the tree and the roots. And believe it or not, this morning I read in the book of John 15:4, right? Remain in me, and I will remain in you. Just as no branch can bear fruit by itself without remaining in the vine, neither can you bear fruit producing evidence of your faith unless you remain in me. And I guess we're all branches, right? Because to me, God is my tree, right? He's the one that's rooted in me in all things. And without being part of the tree, how can I bear any fruit? How can I have any wisdom, any faith, any ideas, any concepts without that? So I think, and I said this already this morning in a different show that I was doing with T.O. Clay, and it's called Unified Leadership. And even with that, we can't do anything. There's no leadership without the faith that we have. And for us to become solid in anything we do, whether we're chasing or we're being, we are still moving forward. We can't stay still, like you said, Sandy. You gotta go from here. Where are you going to go from here? But you need the strength, right? If you're the branch, you can't. The source is bringing you so that you can bear the fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
everything is connected, Sifu.
Oh yes.
We are all connected. Everything is connected. The branch, the tree, the roots. It's all connected. And when everything is in alignment, they feed each other.
I think I agree with that. And Paul, to your point, I think believing is certainly important, but it's believing is kind of when confidence would maybe depend on outcomes. I think that knowing is when confidence survives outcomes. I would say that, in my world, we spend a lot of time on this topic, actually. And I think knowing is almost like that silent acting, like when there's no alternative, like you are certain. And someone say, well, which comes first? I don't even know which comes first, but I know part of the ingredients of this cake of happiness, fulfillment, success, it requires both, and high levels of both, and practicing both. And Sifu, I've been complimentary of you on this before, that the discipline and the repetition of great habits, you're just a great example of that. It leads to great connections, great things, and those are the roots. That's the strength.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, Sandy. Just kind of piggyback off what you were saying, because I think you're saying the same thing that this answer was given, right? So belief requires faith. Knowing requires evidence.
There you go.
But when you have evidence, it strengthens your belief.
Yep. And if you don't believe, you don't get the evidence, right? It's
right.
Like that.
So it all works synergistically together. But it's really interesting to think about it. And we all, I think most people, and I'm going to say this loosely because I don't like to make general statements. I think we know there's a connection between everything. I think we innately know that, right? I think a lot of times a lot of people don't believe that because they haven't seen evidence of it.
Mhm.
But if they had faith in that, they would see the evidence of it, and then they would know. And so I think part of, the things that we do and all the works that we all do in different spaces, and, there's a lot of similarities. So I don't want to talk a little bit about the mental edge because I think I want to hear more about that. But, ultimately we are not trying to convince anybody of anything. We're inviting people to have faith in the process, right? Because we've had experiences, we already know that all the things we talk about, we already know because we had the experience. So we know, right? We have the evidence, right? And we're inviting other people to have faith and believe in this process, and then you get the evidence too.
See, I have a slightly different take on what you just said. Our brains believe what we tell it.
100%.
Evidence is stronger than faith. Sure. Well, not necessarily. Sometimes faith can be
Depends. It depends, right?
Yeah. But your brain's going to believe what you tell it. Tell it who you are. Tell it you already are what you want to be. That's changing your identity. And it all lines up. So, I mean, I agree with everything you say, but I wanted to throw that in on top of it.
I think the only time that becomes, I'm not going to say challenging, because I mean everybody has a recipe that works. I always suggest to people though that they remind themselves, and I love that you kind of use that word, convincing, reminding. I suggest to people, like, the challenging part is, are we waking up every day trying to convince ourselves or just reminding ourselves, right? Convincing is you already don't believe. Right. So that's kind of number one. But the second thing on that is, from that convincing and reminding, how you go about action. A lot of it, so much of with your thoughts, that thoughts ultimately, I think, are just thoughts. Thoughts aren't facts. You can control your thoughts and you can tell yourself what, but sometimes the rabbit hole, right, is remembering that thoughts are just thoughts. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, doesn't mean that it did happen, doesn't mean that that person thinks this about you, or that outcome is totally not achievable. So I always love to encourage people, deal in facts. Like, what is the evidence? Kind of, Paul, like what you were saying, and I do believe that snowballs, but it also is kind of preventative measure that sometimes when we're talking to people, an athlete or a business client or a CEO or something, a lot of times what they're saying might be thoughts, and when you kind of peel back the layer and say, I know that might be what you're thinking, but is there any evidence of that, right? Is that actually the truth? Because that power of thoughts are just thoughts can kind of go either way, negative if we let it, but certainly positive, like Stanley was saying, if we really kind of lead it.
100%. The brain is malleable. You can shape it any way you want to shape it. You just got to do it with intentionality.
That's right.
And hopefully for the service of good. I mean that is the dichotomy of that entire situation. We can feed it all the negative stuff and it will be negative. Or you can feed it all the positive stuff and it will be positive. You can also feed it things that aren't true, and you'll believe those things to be truths.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there's that too, right? So there is this fine line that we have to dance. But when you understand the power of that, then we all have a choice. And if we have choice, then that means we have responsibility, right? To decide what's going to go in and what's going to come out. So I love it.
I agree.
Seafood thoughts.
I think that the more we evolve, the less we know. The more we need to learn. That growth should happen every day. This is why when somebody, everybody's like, what's the word for the year? Da, 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 da. Some people don't even get that idea. But my word has been for quite some time, exceptional. And when somebody says, how are you doing? I say exceptional and getting better every day, because I need to grow from the person I was yesterday. And the only way I can do that is by reading, learning, understanding, looking things up, research, talking to individuals like yourselves who help shape my thoughts, because everything that I'm saying now didn't originate with me.
Mm-hmm.
It all came from everyone. It came from the universe, if you will. It came from my dreams. It came from my thoughts. It came from my conversations. It came from all the thousands of books I've read, all the lectures I've sat in, all the different schooling I've done, all the experiences I've had. So are they mine? Just coming out of my mouth, but they're not mine. I can't own them. So I have to give them out. I have to deliver them as much as I possibly can. This is why I love speaking, but also I learn nothing when I speak. So I have to be quiet sometimes. Silent. And silent, when you reverse the words, is listen.
Oh, look at that. That's true. Huh. That's
welcome.
yeah. I was just
welcome.
about to say thank you. Yeah, that almost made my brain hurt. Yeah, it's terrific. I love
It goes back to these old adages our grandparents used to tell us: you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Right.
Yep. I would say the greatest one that I never forgot this, that my grandmother used to say, and I could apply this to every single aspect of my life. She always used to say, "You are where your feet are." Right? You are where your feet are. And there's this like little old, Jewish lady with just a big mouth on her. But it was such wise advice that I've never forgotten that. I mean, business, sports, relationships, like you are where your feet are. I mean, just like the power of that. For me, it's a very calming thought, that it's very focused, and it's very kind of like, now what? But I've never forgotten that.
Thank you for bringing up your grandma. And one of the things you said, she was little, but in reality, she was a giant.
Yeah, no doubt.
She is a giant, right? And will always be a giant. So I've met so many small people who are giants.
Yeah.
Because of the way they carry themselves or the way they make others feel.
Yeah.
With that, we've run out of time. What a great conversation. So what I want to do is give everybody 45 seconds. Tell us why they need to connect with you. Being that you spoke last, Sandy, go ahead, and I will put your information across the screen. Go for it.
Me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It goes back to a word that Paul said. I am driven at this stage in my life by this concept of impact, and trying to be a vessel, kind of Sifu, as you said, for just massive accomplishment. And that is so unique to everybody. I don't know what that definition means for that person or for that person. I just love helping athletes, executives, leaders, anybody get to a place where they are living a life of maximized potential. Be all in and just go for it. You got to do it. So that's if you share that mindset, and if you want to know more about it, that would be a reason to reach out to me.
Yeah. Go to sandyrcohen.com.
sandycohen.com. Yep. sandycohen.com.
It says Sandy R.
Oh, should be Sandy Cohen. Sorry.
Okay.
sandycohen.com.
We will fix that, people.
Yeah.
We will fix that.
So those are my arthritic, broken down fingers. Sorry.
Your fun fingers. There you go.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, Stanley, would you mind sharing why we need to connect with you, my friend?
Remember what I said toward the end. You are more powerful than you ever imagined. If you would like guidance in what to do with that knowledge, that you are more powerful than you ever imagined, go to my website at thewayofexcellence.com. I have tons of videos, tons of material, several of my books, all available digitally for free. And the reason they are free, it's not because I don't love money. I do. It is because I am grateful for the life I have and the things that have happened to me, it is my way of giving back. You mentioned something, Sandy, about, wanting to make an impact. That was the second thing I learned, Sifu, which is that if I'm capable of doing what I did, what else is out there waiting for me to do that I haven't done yet?
Mm-hmm.
And the way of excellence is what that is. It is my gift to you. You can also, there's a button on the bottom. You're welcome to contact me. You're welcome to email me. I have groups that I put together. I work with people privately as well, or you're welcome to dive through the material that's on my website for free. It's yours. I want this world to maximize its potential.
Love it. Love it. Make sure you guys reach out to thewayofexcellence.com and reach out to Stanley. He's got free books, people. Who doesn't love to read?
Mm-hmm.
And I did fix your information here. So, Sandy, there you go. sandyclone.com. All right.
Thank you.
And then, Paul, we're up to you. And then we're going to wrap this up because I have another show I've got to run to.
Yes, we're on the clock. Yeah, so I would say for me, so my work centers around the intersection of human performance, leadership, and alignment. And as I kind of alluded to in the beginning, alignment, there's an art and science to that, right? And, when I start thinking about the art of that, attention reveals truth. And I think that's the biggest thing. And, when we talk about the pursuit of happiness is the kind of thing that comes to mind when people talk about pursuing something. And I think that we kind of miss the boat because happiness can be fleeting. And certainly we can bring it to our attention when we want to. But we're pursuing this joy, this experience, this fulfilled life, if you will, this being ourselves, stepping into our authentic selves. So if alignment and those things resonate with you, then that would be a reason to connect with me so that we can get there together, because this is not a solo journey. It was meant to be something we did in partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Love it, love it, love it. I'm Sifu Rafael. What can I say? There's so many different ways that we can have a conversation. Let's try having one. That's the important thing, right? There's so many ways that I love helping people, and that's what my life and my mission is based on. How can I help? So let's get on a call. Let's do a Zoom. Let's do something, or Google. It doesn't matter to me. Conversations are the key to getting to know you. And the only way I got to know these guys, these exceptional guys on this show today, is through our first conversation. And from there on, listen, we're all friends now, and we're going to stay that way. Everybody, thank you so much. Have yourself a blessed day. Happy Friday, everybody. Talk soon.
Friday.
Thank you.